safe streets, vibrant neighborhoods, successful business and commerce. These are things that make a healthy community. We are a diverse community, rural, suburban, urban, a multitude of languages and ethnicities, ages and experiences. We are a collaborative community. Public-private partnerships make us a model community that others want to follow. It is what makes us unique. It is what makes us strong. The employees of Kent County reflect our diversity and seek to serve our communities.
People in this county, in this area, we wrap our arms around each other. We come together to collaborate, to solve problems. We're all working for the good of the whole. And I think that's wonderful. And you can see it. You can see it as you drive around Kent County.
Our impact starts the day a baby is born and a birth certificate is issued, to protecting children from deadly diseases through vaccination, to the public safety and justice provided by law enforcement and the courts, to offering veterans services and caring for the elderly. Every day we work to keep our communities robust.
I think if you are somebody who's interested in serving your community, in building a strong knowledge base and a good group of people to work with, then the county is one of your best employment opportunities out there. It's been completely rewarding in every way I could possibly explain for 26 years, and I feel like I grow every single day still today.
Leading these dedicated employees, our 19-member Board of Commissioners and our County Administrator Controller, along with our elected officials and appointed department directors, placing emphasis on civic involvement, quality housing, vibrant neighborhoods, and strong, solid infrastructure to allow businesses to thrive. Professional, dedicated, collaborative, and innovative.
Behind the scenes, collaboration between foundations, charitable organizations, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, public sector demonstrated through the county, the city of Grand Rapids, the townships, all the cities and the villages in our area. If we don't come together, then we will not have the strength that we have today, and I only hope to build upon that.
Our aim is to make our communities the best they can be. We are involved in exciting development projects, sustainable recycling programs, and creative progressive prevention programming. We partner with elected officials, impacting policy ideas that become great achievements. We seek opportunities to reach out into the community and offer our services to help our residents make Kent County thrive.
Our relationship is solid, both from a staff standpoint at the county level as well as the Board of Commissioners. And they understand what we do and the benefits that we can do for the community, and vice versa. We couldn't do what we do without the help of Kent County.
While most of us are busy running our lives, Kent County's elected officials, administrator controller, and over 1,600 employees are serving the communities where we live our lives, so we can all have a place we are proud to call home. Kent County, its life well run.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome my fellow commissioners, staff, and guests to the Finance and Physical Resource Committee. It is Tuesday, November 20th at 8:30 a.m. We will start our meeting with public comment. Is there any public that would like to address the Finance Committee? Please come up and state your name and address.
Good morning. My name is Jim Byrne. I live at 5526 Alhambra Drive in Kent County. And I'm here as a representative of the Kent County Senior Millage Committee, of which I happen to be the vice chair. I'm pinch hitting for Nancy Nielsen today. I'm sure everybody knows Nancy, and of course she's done a remarkable job of leading this group for many, many years. I want to bring one thing to your attention this morning. This month marks an important milestone. The Kent County Senior Millage was approved 20 years ago in November of 1998, and to my understanding was implemented in 1999. So it's been 20 great years of service to our community, and I think this commission should be complimented for bringing it to the community and for supporting it for these many years. As you know, there are many people who are in this room today who've had a great deal of input into the committee's work, but I wanted to bring to your attention to one person, and that's Harold Mast, who actually was, to my understanding, a part of the initial group that put the millage proposal together and served as a member of the Senior Millage Committee for many, many years. So thanks to you, Harold. Appreciate that. So as you know, this year we have been tasked with the distribution of $11 million plus in tax funds that have been raised to support this program. And I just wanted to mention that we have one new vendor that we're working with. It's very small, entrepreneurial, nonprofit, 3-4 people. They have an organization called Alternatives in Motion. And we visited them. They take donations of what they call gently used mobility equipment, which they refurbish and give out to low-income seniors who need this equipment but are not able to afford to purchase it. So that's a really good example of the great community service that so many of the organizations that we work with can provide. So this year, we have several commissioners who sit on the review committee. I just wanted to call those folks out: Carol Hennessy and Stan Steck and Matt Kuhlman, and then Matthew Van Zetten serves on the administrative side as a member of the group as well. So also I wanted to thank Mandy Bolter for stepping in at the last minute to substitute, and did a great job helping us through this process last month. Finally, my personal perspective on this, and I've had the honor of sitting on this committee for many years now, and it's just been a wonderful experience. I've been able to witness firsthand some of the issues of poverty and need and isolation that exist in the senior community in Kent County, and the great work that has been done by those that we work with and that we fund, who are able to address those needs for those seniors who are most in need in our community. So I want to thank you for the work that you've done to support this, and certainly thank the community for contributing the funding to make it come to pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will close public comment, and that will take us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay, moved and supported.
The question to take something off, or?
No, that comes next.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Is there anything that needs to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Sorry, I'd like 2C to come off, only because I want to talk to Matthew, not Matthew, Matt.
Okay,
So, yeah.
all right, so we will pull 2C. So with that, we will vote on all the items for the consent agenda except 2C. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that will bring us to 2C, and we need a motion to approve that. So is there a motion to approve 2C from the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay,
Support.
moved and supported. And questions, comments, and discussion. Commissioner Bukowski.
Yeah, I just, we're noting the voter approved increase of taxes. So I didn't want that to just simply slide under the dark of night in the consent agenda, that voters seem to enjoy the services that their taxes purchase. And so within those, so that is all the amendment is just increasing that report so that those taxes can be levied.
Correct.
Correct.
These were the millages that were approved in the November election. The apportionment section, or the apportionment session takes place by mandate in October, and this is just amending those millages that were passed in November.
Okay, thank you so much. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay, so that's, Linda, was that item 4, though?
Item 4 is a part of the new millage.
Okay,
The item 4 is the actual levy of the newly approved millage.
It's the enforcement report.
okay.
Just talking about, yeah, amended enforcement report.
All right. Anything else? Okay, thank you. So all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 3, from the Administrator's Office. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to the board to allocate $11.6 million in senior millage funds for 2019 as recommended by the Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan, and to approve the agreement for administration of senior millage services with AAA West Michigan, and to authorize the board chair or designate to execute the agreement. The AAA West Michigan holds contracts with 31 agencies to provide services with funding from the Kent County Senior Millage. Under the terms of the contracts, the funding level is evaluated annually based on new program proposals, current year operations, and available funding. In early October 2018, the Kent County Senior Millage Review Committee evaluated 2019 funding requests and made recommendations regarding funding for each service. These recommendations were forwarded to the AAA West Michigan Executive Committee on October 22nd, 2018, which is now recommending them to the county for approval. The county proposes to enter into an agreement with AAA West Michigan to serve as the senior millage administrative entity for development, coordination, and implementation administration of the services delivery system for millage-funded programs for senior citizens. In addition to the annual contracts for service delivery and administration, senior millage funds will also be used to provide in-home services, prescription assistance, flu, pneumonia, and shingles vaccinations, and emergency needs funding to seniors through the purchase of service arrangements. Amounts to be allocated through this process have been included in the bid tabulation and recommended sheet. Assistant Corporate Counsel has reviewed and approved senior millage administrative services agreement as to form.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Bukowski.
I simply have to note my ongoing conflict of interest, so I'll be abstaining from this. So, as is my annual practice, I won't say anything excellent about the staff at Area Agency on Aging and how well they do this, and I won't thank my colleagues who do such great work, everybody on that review committee. So I'll just sit here quietly and not say those positive things and abstain.
Okay, Commissioner Hennessy.
And I won't begin to talk about the wonderful services provided by agencies such as disability advocates. Thank you, Dr. Burns, for talking about, the work and the process that we go through. And it's, 1 week is very intensive, but we actually monitor, and beginning in January, our contract service workers will be going to every agency and beginning to look at what they're doing and how they're doing it, and that they're fulfilling their obligations in terms of the money that they're being given. And a lot of this work you can see by the report that's given to you. There's, priority services, general services, assisted services, but it's categorized so that we're really meeting the biggest need there is for people to stay in their homes. And this is the best way to treat people individually. It's the best way to handle our own limited resources, and to really serve the needs in the community. I took note that yesterday one of these general emails we get from Route 50 was talking about the need to provide services, especially in rural areas, so that people can stay in their homes. And I thought, we are really well ahead of the game. And it's really nice to be there, and to be there in a very responsible way.
Thank you. Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to pick up where Commissioner Bukowski left off and speak on the process a little bit. 20 years ago, I think the commission was wise enough to kind of ask the AAA to administer this program, and for the last 20 years, they've been doing just a great job. I can't imagine this, coming directly to each one of us on the board. I just commend the process. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Chair. I was just curious, I've come across a couple cases of people, they're veterans, that are in need of hospital beds, probably in the short term, for their homes. And is there any type of, what do residents or what do people do that maybe they have them that no longer need them? Is there any type of plan in place to recycle them to people that need them? Because they're really expensive and the costs are very restrictive for a lot of people. And I was wondering if anybody can answer that. I'm not sure, but.
Hello, Matthew.
I just talked to Ann Ellerman, and she's got an answer for that. Ann's the director of the contract services for AAA West Michigan and is the lead staff for the millage, so.
And just a little background,
Yep.
we've been asked for grants from an organization I'm involved with for hospital beds. But the folks are terminal. Before short term, that's a huge cost. And we're trying to figure out if there's a way of getting them that were already used and maybe they're stacking up someplace.
Well, good morning. I don't have an answer, but it's something that we can look at because Dr. Byrne was just talking about a new service partner we're working with that has the mobility equipment and the wheelchairs, which some of them are probably a lot more expensive even than a hospital bed. So it's something that you can task us to look at this year.
Well, that's kind of what brought it to mind when you mentioned that.
Absolutely.
And if you could take that back and see if there's, I imagine there's someplace, I don't know if they sell them on Craigslist afterwards or what, but I know there's a need out there for those beds, and most people can't afford them, so.
Absolutely. So we'll look into it and report back to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, yes, Commissioner Mast.
I just want to thank Dr. Byrne for his service on the allocation committee and for his kind comments. It was 22 years ago that I was elected to this body, and then 20 years ago that we started this process. And I was going to follow precisely what Commissioner Morgan said. We were very fortunate to select the Area Agency on Aging West Michigan to be the administrator, but I remember that was a fairly deliberate process to get them selected. But it's interesting that as we considered putting on the millage for the Ready by 5 early childhood, we strongly advised them to allocate the money very similar to what AAA at West Michigan has done. And I think they've been communicating with them. And so hopefully, now that has passed, that is going to be done the same way, because this has been a very successful, very, very popular to the voters.
Staff has been working with them as well, Matthew Van Zetten and Sandra Gosen-Jones, so they are teeing that ball up similarly to how we've placed AAA West Michigan in play.
Thank you for opening up yourself to that. Thank you, Sandra, for helping them.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? One abstention. Motion passes. That brings us to item number 4 on the agenda for the Board of Commissioners from Fiscal Services. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to the board to levy a winter 2018 early childhood millage and to appropriate $5,700,000 to the Early Childhood Services Special Revenue Fund. On June 28, 2018, the Board of Commissioners approved the resolution authorizing a ballot question asking voters to approve a dedicated millage of .25 mils for early childhood services for children up to 5 years of age and their parents. As a result of the November 6th election, county voters authorized a new dedicated property tax millage in support of early childhood services, and the Board of Commissioners is requested to levy a winter 2018 early childhood millage. The resolution will authorize the levy of the .25 mils on each $1,000 of taxable value against all real property, subject to taxation in Kent County, and the prepared 2019 budget did not include the early childhood millage as it had not yet been approved by the voters. It is estimated that the millage would generate $5.7 million in property tax revenue. Funds derived from the levy of this millage will be utilized to support early childhood services in the 2019 budget.
Is there a motion to approve? In support?
Support.
All right. We have motion moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion. We'll start with Commissioner Voorhees.
Thank you, Chair Jones. So we mentioned about an entity that's going to oversee the disbursements such as we have with AAA and the senior. What is that entity in this?
We have not formally determined who they will be. There will be an RFP that will be issued similar to what we've done in the previous years, back 22 years ago with AAA West Michigan being the awardee. We'll do the same process. Very likely, I'm assuming that First Steps will be one of the bidders for this RFP, but we'll go through that process over the next several weeks. We're working with purchasing right now to finalize the RFP that will go out for that.
I think. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Yes, I am going to be supporting this, obviously, because it went in front of the voters and they approved it. I was opposed to this millage, and I still am because of the situation which we have talked about a little bit. I think Commissioner Bukowski and myself may be traveling to Lansing to talk about some reform of higher education funding. We are currently giving state colleges $1.75 billion. One of our colleges accumulated over $12 billion in their endowment fund. And I think that money has become misspent. It's supposed to be used for keeping tuitions low, and I don't think anybody's saying, boy, these tuitions are very affordable. I think that there's need for reform because it's all education. I'd like to see some of that money stick around here for things like this, because we're just creating more money for something that's a broken system, and I don't like doing that. I'm going to support this because I went through the process, but I still want to work on getting some grassroots support for going to Lansing and reforming higher education funding, because I think it's completely broken and has been for a long time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Bukowski.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just, on the other end of the age spectrum, as we approve the 20-year-old allocation for senior millage, and this is the first opportunity for 0 to 5, though, of course, there's a lot of dollars spent for 0 to 5 in our community, so I do look forward to see how this leverages those dollars, focuses it, and some more research. I don't hope for more federal dollars for this because I am of the opinion that the federal government is broke and needs to stop its spending. However, at the state level, there are some additional resources and how this can leverage those, because things like lead and again, there's a lot of issues that are impacting 0 to 5, and so hopefully this will help move those things forward appropriately and as we coordinate with these dollars. So looking forward to that, and like the other millage, looking forward to a solid committee that will do that tough work to make sure these dollars are well spent and on track. So definitely huge tip of the hat to the citizens that came forward and asked the voters for this and then got a yes from the voters. And now the hard work begins.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. That brings us to item number 5 from the Clerk Register of Deeds.
Yes.
Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to the board to appropriate an additional $750,000 to the 2018 Register of Deeds Automation Fund budget from Register of Deeds Automation Fund reserves. The Register of Deeds Automation Fund is used to account for funds set aside under provisions of Public Act 698 of 2002. The fund was created for upgrading technology in the Register of Deeds office. As a part of the 2018 budget process, the Board of Commissioners appropriated $772,214 to the Register of Deeds Automation Fund budget. An additional $750,000 appropriation from Register of Deeds funds reserves is being requested. The additional funding would be utilized to scan and digitize deeds records from 1836 to 1969 and to replace recording software that has been in place since 2003. These projects will increase staff efficiency and improve customer service to county citizens.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, moved, and is it supported?
Support.
Thank you. Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Bukowski.
This seems like a lot of dollars at the last month of the fiscal year, and I don't know if we can talk to, I mean, it's coming from that automation fund. However, where does that money come from to go into that fund? And again, are we going to spend it now or just authorizing the expense for this?
Why don't we have the county clerk come up?
Again, I mean, while she's coming up, I definitely agree this stuff should be digitized, and I'm assuming will be put online and all that stuff for people to search and make it easier. Just looking at, it's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Where the money comes from to go into the fund, part of that Public Act 698 of 2012 sets aside $5 for every single document that is filed within the Register of Deeds office to be set aside in the automation fund for technology upgrades, just so that we can stay current and utilize technological advances for these property records. It is a large chunk towards the end of this budget year, and frankly, part of that is as a result of going through the RFP process and making the selection of the software, which will be also utilized by our Vital Records division in the clerk's office as well. So it's kind of a twofer in this regard. As we've gone through the process, when we did the budget for 2018, we simply didn't have a firm grasp of the entire capabilities and what that was going to look like at the very end. Knowing that we have about a $1.2 million fund balance in this account, and we are, when I took office 2 years ago, kind of part of our vision was, what do we do with this fund? Our system's 15 years old. We have 133 years of scanning that has to be done. So we knew it was going to be costly because we just haven't invested in doing it upfront and keeping it going. So that's where the cost comes from. That's where the money for the fund comes from. I hope that answers your questions.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Hennessy.
How long have we had the $5 set aside for this kind of a fund in our register, as you register property?
Well, the act went into effect in 2002. However, it used to be, it was reformed to $5 per document. I think before it was $30 for every transaction or something like that. And that was changed, I think, somewhere between 2013 and 2015, where it became $5 each document versus transactional.
Okay, and that's money that stays here, and it does stay in a special
Yes.
account?
Yep,
Does it
it's a
go into
completely
general
separate fund from the general fund.
I follow up one more time. So that means that it doesn't have to come into us through a CIP type process?
Correct, is my understanding. Yes.
Okay, anyone else? All right, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, comments, or discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item 6 from the Health Department.
Yes, this is a request to approve the Health Department Spectrum Health System contract for 2018-19 and to accept and appropriate $89,000 to the 2018-19 Health Fund budget for the Strong Beginnings program, and to authorize the board chair to execute the grant agreement and approve grant extensions and changes within 15% of the original award. Strong Beginnings is a home visiting program that uses community health workers to work alongside nurses and social workers in the maternal and infant health program to provide services that do not require the skill or expertise of a nurse or a social worker. The Strong Beginnings program goals are to improve birth outcomes and decrease the rate of infant mortality, to reduce the barriers to care for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers through community outreach, case management, and education, and to improve care for pregnant women through improved screening and coordination, and to engage the community to advocate for culturally competent care. The Health Department provides outreach, support, and case management services to high-risk women who live in the Kent County area and are pregnant or the mother of a child 0 to 2 years of age. The agreement period for the Spectrum Health contract is November 1, 2018 to March 31, 2019. In the event grant funding is eliminated or decreased, the positions funded by this grant will be eliminated unless continuation funding is approved, presented to the Fiscal Policy on Grants, Contracts, and Donations.
Okay, is there a motion to approve and support? Who supported that? Support.
Commissioner Antor.
Okay, great. Commissioner Antor got it. Thank you. Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Chair. I'm wondering how this plays along with our millage that just increased. And is this redundant? Do we still need this money?
Yeah, we still need the money.
Let's have Adam London come on up and
I know we can always use
and
money.
chat.
I'm just wondering if it's.
Good morning. It's not redundant. There is nothing in the early childhood millage that's going to replace this program. This is a program which has been in place for about 20 years now. It is, however, our goal as the programming within the early childhood millage is developed to make sure that we very carefully knit the services that we provide for pregnancy through 2 years into that programming so that we're helping these highest risk families get everything they need to make sure their kids are ready for school and in a spot where they can be successful.
So you're going to be working with the administrators of the millage, that group, to kind of blend this?
Absolutely. With this program and with every other thing that we do to serve families in Kent County.
Okay, thank you very much, Adam.
Okay, anyone else? Commissioner Bukowski.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is reported at LHR. However, in an instance like this one, we get, I mean, this, as you said, this has been happening for 20 years. This proposal notes it's year 5 of at least this set of contracts. What kind of outcomes are we achieving? At least, you know, what I hear in other emails and newsletters and such, that there still is a significant gap with low birth weight and infant mortality for babies of color. And I know this is focused on that. So, I mean, how much are we really bending that curve? And is it, yeah, what can help bend that curve some more?
Yeah, thank you for that, question, Commissioner Bukowski. We've bent that curve an awful lot in the past 15 or 20 years. In 2003, I believe it was, the infant mortality rate, which is the number of newborns who don't make it to their first birthday, that number for African American children in this community was 20 per 1,000 born. The rate at that time for white babies was, I believe, at 7 per 1,000 born. The rate now for all races has come down pretty significantly, in part to programs like this, but also to everything else the community has done with safe sleep and child seats and everything that everyone from law enforcement to public health have been working on. But we have brought the number, the infant mortality rate now for African Americans to 10. So we've cut it in about half in the past 15 years or so. The number for Hispanics and for white babies has also come down pretty significantly. If we consider that the birth rate has been about the same in that period of time, which it has been, there are about 200 children that are with us here in Kent County now that wouldn't otherwise have been if it weren't for programs like this. So I believe that's the best outcome for us. We've also seen that our rate of low birth weight children and premature children has gone down for mothers who participate in programs like this.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you, Adam. Oh, Commissioner Mast?
Well, and just kind of to reiterate, the purpose of the millage that we've had is to catch children beyond the birth, beyond 1 year to probably 3 or 4 years old. So it's not a duplication. I mean, I think that's what you said already.
Thank you for that clarification. Yeah, this program takes mothers and babies to age 2. We then would like to hand them off to other supportive services.
Okay, Commissioner Morgan.
Just a comment, that's pretty significant reduction. I think that's a really good outcome, not that we need to, fall asleep or, fall asleep at the switch or anything, but having that kind of reduction and bending that curve is pretty remarkable.
It really is.
I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Adam. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 7 on the agenda from Human Resources. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request for the board to approve the management pay plan, pay range, wage, and benefit changes. Approximately 260 clerical professional management positions are covered under the management pay plan pay structure. As authorized by the Board of Commissioners, the management pay plan administrative process provides for periodic review and adjustment to the pay structure for MPP positions. It's recommended that the MPP pay structure be implemented as proposed by McGrath Consulting. This will convert the MPP structure to a step program similar to the union step pay structures. This will result in new pay grades and steps for MPP employees that would take effect on December 31, 2018. The total salary costs to implement this new pay structure, along with a minimum increase of 2.5% is $904,000. Proposed changes for the to the MPP benefits includes the maximum retiree health care stipend for employees who retire on or after January 1, 2019 will increase to $400 a month. The annual paid time off allotment for MPP employees hired before July 1, 2016 will increase to 80 hours for full-time employees and 40 hours for part-time employees. A one-time 48-hour bank to supplement short-term disability benefits will be added for employees hired on or after July 1, 2016. And MPP employees with at least 10 years of service will be able to cash out 1 week of unused vacation each year. The total cost of $1.2 million to implement the proposed changes is included in the 2019 proposed budget. This item was recommended for approval by the Legislative and Human Resources Committee at its November 13, 2018 meeting.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Commissioner Morgan?
Yeah, I understand the changes, but can somebody explain to me the STEP program and how that works? Is it by an evaluation process, or is it just because you've been here for 3 years, or 2 years, or 10 years?
Hello, Amy.
Hi, good morning.
I've always been one with the management folks that it's based on performance and review, and it seems like it's taking that component away.
Good question, Commissioner. The STEP program does give managers the latitude to hold people in a STEP if performance is lacking, and it is correlated with the performance review. So we do have to get a performance review turned in from the manager before we will administer a STEP increase, where the manager is giving us the go-ahead because their assessment is that performance is warranting the STEP increase.
So it's not automatic.
I wanted clarification because I didn't really understand that.
Hey, Commissioner Bukowski.
Yeah, thank you for your hard work on this, because a few of us looked at this a couple years back, and I'm very happy that we continue to get this group of employees in line with the rest of our employees. That being said, when you look at the benefit changes, does that put folks more in line with the unionized staff, or a half a notch or a quarter notch above? Because my assumption is that the unionized staff will ask for this if this is more, and so we'll never catch up, right?
Yep. Yeah, also a good question. These changes make the MPP identical to the union staff, so they're being implemented to make sure that it's kind of an even playing field for benefits for everybody.
All right. Thank you much.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Morgan.
Just so I can understand it, then the MPP was lagging, or was a little behind, and that's why we brought this, been working on this for the last few years, than the union rank and file, right? Is that?
Well, with the benefit changes, for most unions, those same benefit changes will go into effect on exactly the same date, because we negotiated the bulk of our union contracts this year. So for the most part, the effective date would be the same. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, Commissioner Antor.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The total cost for this was $904,000. Is that just the increase in salaries because of this?
Yeah, the increase in salaries is the 940, and then the 1.2 million includes the benefit changes.
Hey, anyone else? Right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That will bring us to item number 8 on our agenda from the Kent County Community Action. Wayman?
Yeah, this is a request to accept and appropriate $443,000 in various grants to authorize the board chair designate to execute the grant agreements and approve grant extensions and changes within 15% of the original award. The Kent County Community Action has applied for and has been awarded the following grants: the Emergency Food Assistance Program, which is $56,900, Michigan Energy Assistance Program, which is $336,000, and the CHIP Lead Remediation Grant, which is $49,000. Services offered include lead paint remediation, heating assistance, and food distribution to eligible residents.
Is there a motion to approve? Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Thank you. How is this distributed as far as who qualifies? Is this like a CDBG type of allocation, or?
Is this the CDBG program?
Morning, Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
Morning. These programs are all have litmus tests of eligibility like a CDBG program. Sometimes it's 150% of poverty, sometimes it's 200% of poverty, but you'd have to have certain asset tests and things like that. So it's all regulatory, established by primarily the state or federal government.
So this is some new money on top of what we normally get for CDBG.
Correct. So this funding was previously, and these services were previously provided through Asset. And then when the merger happened, just celebrated our first year, these services are now under the county umbrella and the community action umbrella. And so with CDBG programs, it's in that same department now.
Okay.
And then, so just looking at this list of grants, the CHIP remediation grant, the CDBG program staff does this grant and then can work with clientele potentially to put other CDBG home rehab opportunities together for lead remediation. So the goal was to work to figure out how to best create portfolios of services to meet needs of our community.
Okay, and all these, the emergency food assistance, would that normally fall under a CDBG? Or
No,
separate?
that's a separate funding stream that comes through the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
So will you be notifying somehow the townships that there's this money out here, or how is this information?
Yeah, so Community Action has a wide network of resources they use already in partnership with the Senior Millage and other nonprofit organizations. So we can get the presentation from LHR that they just did on their performance measures, but documents how broad these are. But we can work with the townships as well to share the information more broadly.
Be a first come, first serve?
You have to apply, and yeah, when food runs out, it runs out.
Okay, thank you, Matthew.
Yep.
Okay, Commissioner Morgan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Morning, Matthew. The lead remediation, is that one of the first programs that through the
Yep. So
community development?
Yeah, so Commissioner Breevy and the lead task force that she chaired, as part of that, we were able to get some funding from the state of Michigan through the city of Grand Rapids. It's Medicaid funding called CHIP. And the $49,900 is a subcontract from the city of Grand Rapids for out-county, non-city services. So they can work with township in out-city houses that might have lead in them. And then we couple that with the opportunity to look at the CDBG program to remediate that lead. So one of our townships helped us get some money together to get this started. And so this is part of that effort that we're doing.
This isn't HUD funds.
This is Medicaid funding.
Medicaid funds. So there's an opportunity perhaps down the road to get HUD funding.
Yeah, potentially.
Well, that's
yeah. The
just
city of
like-
Grand Rapids has the bulk of that because they've had a history.
Right.
But as we continue to work together on this community-wide program, because there's places in Cedar Springs that have old houses. There's places in Sparta that have old houses with lead paint, right? It's not just an urban area,
Right.
even though there's a larger percentage of houses just because there's more people and housing in the city, but Wyoming, different places too, so.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. That brings us to item number 9 on our agenda from the Kent MSU Extension. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to authorize the purchase of development rights in approximately 36 acres of property in Sparta Township as recommended by the Agricultural Preservation Board, to accept and appropriate all funds awarded by the American Farmland Trust in the amount of $110,000 and any matching funds from landowners, foundations, or townships, and to authorize the county administrator, controller, or designee to execute the conservation easement and any associated documents. The Board of Commissioners approved the purchase of development rights ordinance on November 26, 2002, In April 2018, the Board of Commissioners approved selection criteria for the purchase of development rights by the county and authorized the Agricultural Preservation Board to accept applications from landowners to participate in the program. The Agricultural Preservation Board is recommending the purchase of a conservation easement on the Bradford Farm, Sparta Township, exert approximately 36 acres in Sparta Township, owned by the Linda S. Bradford Trust, based on the property's compliance with county criteria and the availability of matching funds. The Agricultural Preservation Program has funds available to pay the closing costs associated with the easement and the conservation easement, and all associated clearance documents will be reviewed by Corporate Counsel and approved as to form. Corporate Counsel will review and approve any closing documents before the date of closing.
Is there a motion to approve? Okay, and is there support?
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Voorhees.
So we have no county tax dollars involved in this transaction?
Nothing other than the support that we provide through the area, through the cooperative extension and applying for the funds. We do provide administrative support to go after these funds, but as far as matching dollars, no.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Hennessy?
It's nice to see that the American Farmland Trust is participating with us in this program. Is this the first time we've had their help?
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. Is that going to be a future possibility as well, that we can, is this a new source of funding? And just generally, how are we, keeping together the ideas that we have other sources of funding, whether it be from townships, and I do see the townships participating, or from...
So Commissioner Hennessy, I'd like to introduce Stacy Byers, who's our contract administrator who helps administer the funds. But she can talk about the American Farmland Trust, but just to answer your question, we're preparing an update to the board on this, so I think some of your questions will be answered in that process. But Stacy can talk about the Farmland Trust.
Thank you, Matthew. Good morning, Commissioners. I think it's an excellent observation. This is the very first time that American Farmland Trust has allocated funds for the purchase of a conservation easement in Kent County. American Farmland Trust is typically a national organization that takes donations of conservation easements. It's atypical for them to purchase a conservation easement. But there was a farm in Kalamazoo called the Love Farm that donated 100% fee simple property to the American Farmland Trust. The American Farmland Trust recorded a deed, a conservation easement deed, and then turned around and sold the farm. The money and the proceeds that they received from the sale was set up for an endowment fund that was used to be allocated to other programs around the state for matching funds, exactly for this purpose. Kent County, this is new for Kent County simply because they like to spread that $110,000 around. They don't typically give it to one particular area. And for this reason, it just happened to be a perfect storm where I was in the right place at the right time. They didn't have any other applications in the hopper at that time, and we put ours in and we got the entire fund. So I certainly think that this is going to be a fund we will go after in the future for funding. We probably won't get the full $110,000, but I think that we could certainly be in the running for a percentage of that in the future. Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
How many townships are participating with funding?
Just Sparta Township, which is where the farm is. On this particular farm, yes, just Sparta Township.
And how many overall?
Well, we've had matching funds from Virgin's Township when we have easements in Virgin, and from Grattan Township. We're actually working toward a easement in Ada Township, and Ada Township is looking towards
It's
putting...
site-specific usually?
It is, it is. Townships like to obviously preserve farms that are in their backyard, so.
Got it.
Sure, sure.
Stacy, how much is Sparta contributing?
$2,000.
$2,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They've actually put in a line item for this to be an ongoing allocation if we have farms in Sparta Township in the future, that they're willing to obligate $2,000 for every farm that we preserve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think the Farmland Trust is the key to this, and I know out east they have a local version of that becomes the fiduciary for a lot of this. And as we move forward looking at this issue, I think it's pivotal that we can build that type of consensus amongst the community and be able to raise money without counting on county funds.
Exactly.
It's a real comprehensive thing, but it's definitely worth it.
It
Because,
is.
dirt, there's only so much of it in the United States, and it's becoming more valuable, and we don't want to lose this agricultural base. There are some creative ways of working this out. I'm glad you guys are still toiling and trying to figure it out. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Hennessy.
I know that we have a list of criteria and many considerations as we, consider what farms to preserve. Is there anything in particular that stands out about this particular 36 acres that really makes it worthwhile?
Yeah, that's a really good question. In our criteria, we look at obviously different ranges of agricultural productivity. We look at development pressure. We look at creating blocks of agricultural land. And as you would imagine, the ridge tends to score very high, and we tend to put quite a bit of priority on farms in the ridge simply because of their production and their uniqueness to agriculture in the state. Typically, however, we have to work down that list to where we can find funding. And we've been really fortunate in this county to have the Wege Foundation being one of our largest funders. They like to see farms preserved in that Parnell corridor, which is Granton and Virgins Township. So although we rank them, we go down our list until we find farms that are in Granton and Virgins Townships, which we can go after Wege funds for. This one is especially special because we were able to get Fruit Ridge property. American Farmland Trust, one of the reasons why we haven't received this, because they really like to do Fruit Ridge property. Leelanau Township, the conservancy up there, and the Peninsula Township usually get quite a bit of this fund. So we're really fortunate to have this. And the Bradford Farm, we've actually used this property. We've gone out and taken several photos and we're going to be using it in some of our educational material because it's a very picturesque farm. It's the kind of farm we really want to showcase as what represents agriculture in Kent County.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Just a quick follow-up. I wanted to mention, the ridge, because the ridge, what makes it so unique is the elevations and
Yes.
the proximity to Lake Michigan. There's all kinds of reasons why fruit growers love that area because it's probably the safest area, one of the safest areas in the country to produce fruit. But all those same geographic conditions are also very appealing to developers because you've got the undulations, the hills and everything. People would love to have the house up on the hill. So there is, a great desire to develop that ridge. And these are the types of things, if we were to ever lose it, and I don't know if we ever will, but there's going to continue to be more pressure as we can see around West Michigan, what's going on here as we're growing. That's gold out there, and you can't replace that. And we just, it's just really important. I understand why people don't like the idea sometimes of giving money to farmers for this program. Look at the big picture. This is an investment in our future, and I don't think anybody's ever said in the history of the world, boy, I wish we want to preserve that land back when we were a chance. We're going to pay for it either way, and I think preserving is just a really good investment in Kent County. If we can do it comprehensively and do it in a way where we can bring in more stakeholders to see the big picture. So this is important, very important.
Anyone else? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to Commissioner Miscellaneous this morning. Is there any Commissioner Miscellaneous? Yes, Commissioner Bukowski?
I have one just to pick up Commissioner Antor's question earlier about hospital beds. I didn't want to muddy the water, so to speak, in that instance and speak out of turn. However, good things happen in the city of Wyoming. Commissioner Voorhees tells us all the time. Wyoming Family Services, they do hospital beds because hospital beds are big, heavy, and cumbersome. So that's why most people don't deal with them, including us at Disability Advocates. But check them out. And if all else fails, Lisa on our staff, she probably knows other places as well for hospital beds.
We just,
absolutely. And people want to donate them, and we say, oh, we wish we could take them, but they just, again, I'll leave it at that. So, Wyoming, did I say Wyoming? Family Services. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Mast.
I want to recognize and introduce my county commissioner successor, Monica Sparks, who's here. Thank you, Monica, for coming and starting your educational process.
Okay, anything else? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned. The next meeting will be Tuesday, December 4th at 8:30.
I am Kent County. I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Bayard, Kent County. Ami, Kent County.
Somos, Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County.
We are Kent County. We are Kent County. Oh yeah.